First of all, before I properly get started, let me just say that if you notice maybe my voice sounds a little different or I'm a little lower energy in this video, I apologize for that. I've just been very busy and very tired about a bunch of stuff that I've been doing the last few days. It's been a whirlwind last few days, and I'm definitely feeling it. However, I find recording these videos can often be a cool way for me to unwind, and I kind of find recording them relaxing, so I kind of wanted to do one before bed, so that's what I'm doing. But if you can notice a little bit of something different, that's why. Apologies if it's noticeable. Anyways, the topic of this video, one of the most common questions I've gotten across the years in streams particularly is what made me start making YouTube videos? Because people may know me from Twitter or Discord or Twitch now, but the reason I actually became a known, like a decently known, whatever you want to call it, content creator, the reason people in other countries across the world know who I am, even in my own small corner of the internet, the reason that anyone watches me, or whatever, was because of my YouTube videos that I started releasing ages ago, it seems at least. But the reason I actually started making them is kind of the reason I continue to make them and the reason I continue to stream, which is passion for communicating why stories mean so much to me and why the stories I love mean so much to me. Bit of background info. I actually got into anime because my friend group from high school, university, just four of us, but like my most close-knit friend group, they found a new hobby of theirs. It was this thing called anime, and they said, there's this really cool, addictive show we're binging. You should check it out, because we like talking about it, and we often talked about TV shows and stuff. It's called Attack on Titan. Check it out. So I did, on their recommendation. I've often talked about how Attack on Titan was my first ever anime. That's how I came to know about it. I checked it out, I binged it, I really enjoyed it. Not as much as I do today, but I really loved it as a piece of entertainment that was really bingeable and really thrilling. Season 1. And then I got into exploring a bit more of the medium. I would Google, best anime. If I wanted a more dark anime, best dark anime, I would just look up recommendations through Googling. And through that I saw Shiki, the horror anime, which is a fantastic series that I really want to rewatch. Great atmospheric, strange, bizarre, off-kilter, but incredibly potent horror show that I really want to rewatch. I checked out Code Geass. My friends and I were really big into Steins Gate. Part of the reason I got into Steins Gate was all of us together kind of watching it together and sharing our experiences. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, we all checked out together. And then, still very early in, before I actually got into Hunter x Hunter and Haikyuu and, maybe Berserk? I don't know when about's Berserk, but like some of the main series that people know me for. Before then, I checked out Fate Zero. I saw a recommendation for it somewhere online. I checked it out, and it completely changed my life. It changed the way I looked at stories, it changed the way I thought about characters, and I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was an instant 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and so I told my friends about it. And they were all basically like, yeah, it's really good. And when we shared our scores about it, it was 8s and 9s. And I'm like, no, it's a 10. It's really funny looking back on this, and nowadays I would just be excited that my friends very much liked this series I recommended to them. But back then I'm like, no, you have to think the same way I do. You have to think it's as good as I think it is. Fate Zero deserves it. So what did I do? I couldn't really properly express to them what I thought was so good and maybe why I thought maybe they were missing on some things. So what I did was I'm pretty sure people make YouTube video essay analysis on various shows. I think I've seen them around. Why don't I do this? Why don't I do this for Fate Zero? So it took me several weeks because I really was putting my all into it. But I put together a script about Fate Zero. What ended up being, well, I'll get into that in a second, but a script, a pretty lengthy script about why I thought Fate Zero was a masterpiece. And I voiced it. I recorded this on my old-ass iPhone. I don't even know the version of the iPhone, but I use my iPhone, a recording app on my iPhone, as my microphone. That's why the audio quality is so bad. On my old Apple MacBook from years and years ago, didn't even own a PC, got some free editing software, got some songs that I really like from the anime, and I recorded it out loud, I edited it, I scripted it. It took me several weeks to put it together, but I eventually did, broke it up into 3 parts, uploaded it to YouTube, bypassed some copyright things that I had to learn about, and I put it on YouTube in a 3-part series. And the purpose of that was simply to prove to my friends that Fate Zero was better than they thought it was. That it wasn't an 8 out of 10, it was a 10 out of 10. It was kind of like, the core of it was passion, but it was also kind of a little spiteful, like, you're wrong. And that sort of fire is something that really fueled me for that. So I put that out there, but what's funny is that all I really intended for this video was for 3 people to watch it, my 3 other friends, so they could watch it and be like, at the very least, hopefully find my thoughts interesting, and if things went well, maybe they'd end up having their minds changed or persuaded. So all I intended was for that video to get 3 views, or those 3 videos to get 3 views, because I uploaded it in 3 parts. But I sent it to them, they checked it out, they really liked it. They thought it was cool, it made them think about the story in ways they hadn't before. But I sent them that. I distinctly remember I uploaded them all, and then I think maybe the day after I sent it to them, or sorry, the same night, I sent it to them. Or I sent them the first part or something like that, at around 9 p.m. my time. And we talked about it a little bit. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and went about my day, and my friend then told me, like, you got some people checking it out. I said, huh, really? And I look, and the video's got like 50, 60 views. Which was crazy to me, that 50 or 60 people would take time out of their day to check out my thoughts on this anime. I got a couple of comments, which was wild to me, and someone suggested, I distinctly remember someone in the comments suggested, share this on like other places. So I said, okay. I tweeted it. I had a Twitter account, so I tweeted it. I put it on Reddit. I believe I shared it on Reddit. And yes, I got some people thought the video wasn't very good, but others really liked it and said, I'd be down to hear your thoughts on other anime. And so I made my second video, which I believe was an analysis of the 3 royal guards from Hunter x Hunter. Let me just make sure I'm right about that. Because I had since then started Hunter x Hunter. Yep, that's what it was. I had since then started Hunter x Hunter. I thought it was awesome, and I loved it. And so I finished it, and so I went, okay, people want something else. I'll do one more video. I love this dynamic with the 3 royal guards. Let's make one of them. I did, and that video got comfortably more than the Fate Zero one, which already had gotten more than I thought. It got like hundreds of views, 5, 6, 7, 800 views or something relatively quickly. I didn't really know how to deal with that. That was so much to me. I didn't really know what was going on. I looked at my analytics and I had started to earn money. Like, I had earned $20 or something through these videos, and I just thought that was so wild. So people commented, like, I would ask people, if you want more, like, it was the summer. I was still in school, but it was the summer. I wasn't working, I was working, but it didn't take up a ton of my time, so I had some spare time, and school was out, so I said, listen, I got spare time, I'm enjoying this. If you want me to talk about more things, then let me know. And some people asked me, what are you into? And so I listed a bunch of stuff, and then it came to then the idea came that maybe you should make a video on The Witcher 3. And I love that idea. I love that. So my third video was on The Witcher 3, which became a bit of a series on the setting of The Witcher 3. I then did another Hunter x Hunter video about Shoot and Nov, and then I did another Witcher 3 video as well, and I was really enjoying it, but it was, I remember I was coming to the point in time, it was either the end of the summer or the start of school, and I'm like, okay, I gotta stop. But I want to do one more, and what I did it on was Berserk, a video entitled Guts and Griffith, the driving force behind Berserk. I had gotten into Berserk, I was so captivated by it, I was so entranced, I thought it was otherworldly, and I still do, obviously, but it really took me aback how incredible Berserk was, the anime, and then I got into the manga, the 90s anime, then I checked out the manga and was gobsmacked by it. So I wrote a video about the dynamic between Guts and Griffith, and that one actually, it wasn't just hundreds of views. That one got pretty quickly thousands and thousands of views, which, you know, it's different these days where I think if you just catch fire in the algorithm, someone with very few subs can get 100K. Like, it's very different now. And I honestly don't really know exactly what it was like back then. I can only speak of my experience, but I was just overwhelmed that this was happening to me. And I looked in my analytics, and suddenly I got my first check from YouTube. It was a little over $100. I'd passed the threshold of payment for them to send you money, and I got paid for making videos talking about something I love. And that was so wild to me. That was so strange. But I loved it. I felt blessed. I felt like, man, I can pay a bill. I can pay my cell phone bill with money I spent doing something I love. That's crazy. And then from then on, it was that Berserk video. I went, let's see how far I can take this. And I made another Hunter x Hunter video. I made another Witcher video. I made a video on Final Fantasy X. I made more Hunter x Hunter. I made some Monster, more Berserk. Yeah, you can check my channel of my earliest videos, but it was a lot of kind of gritty stuff. Berserk, Monster, Witcher 3, the darker elements of Hunter x Hunter. And I still do that today, but I've branched out since then. But that was kind of my thing. And it's funny because I guess that's how I started. And slowly, I got more and more views, more and more subs, more and more people interested, and it was amazing. And the Berserk video was the one that made me want to... the Fate Zero video was incredibly important because it was my first one. Born from passion, not expecting anything. The Hunter x Hunter one was really important because it was, I guess, my gateway into doing more. Trying to do more than just this one-off. The Berserk video was what made me try to actually see how far I could take this, and but the most important one, my first, like, I think viral video, the first video that truly blew up, like, insanely, and I don't think I've experienced anything since then, was, maybe I've experienced a couple since then, but it was the unusual dynamics of Hunter x Hunter's Zoldyck family. That video I put out a few months after I started. I remember it was around New Year's Day, the end of the year, the beginning of the year. It was around New Year's Day, and I put it out there, and it spread like wildfire. it was so incredibly overwhelming. Every minute there was a new comment on that video or others. Every hour I was getting dozens and dozens of new subs, and I was keeping track of that. I don't do that anymore, but I was. It got me past 10,000 subs, and I think before then I only had like 2,000. It was crazy. And it was the most important, I think, video I've made ever in terms of people learning about me. Since then, there's been other ones that catch fire, like later my Kimberly video was really important for that. I made a video about the Harry Potter films, which I think is my most viewed video, but that was the one. That was the one. And so, yeah, that's how I got into it. I'm like, maybe, you know, I'm in school, I'm doing this stuff, but let's see how far I can take it. And it got to a point with me where YouTube became something that was a job. It made me enough money to pay for the rest of my schooling, to help with my student loans. It was incredible. And it still blows my mind to this day that happened at all. And it's interesting because I think a lot of my earlier videos are quite mediocre. I don't think I had... The audio quality wasn't as good. I didn't really know how to commentate that well. I don't think a lot of the points I said were very good nowadays. Back then, I was just talking. But it's funny because there was this one comment I got on my monster video where someone was just very rude with the way they said it, but what they said gave me pause, and it was just that this video is a bunch of nothing. This is 22 minutes of absolute dog shit. You are not making a point, you have nothing to say, you're just gushing about this as if it's deep, but you're not explaining why it's deep. This is elementary school bullshit. Now, it was pretty mean. And I don't think that's any way to communicate with people, but it actually brute forced me into being like, hold on. I don't think what I'm doing is very good. And from then on, I actually started going, okay, with my videos, what am I doing here? What is my point? What am I trying to say? And so now, from that point on, it's crazy. That comment changed the trajectory of how I made videos. And nowadays, I always try to start with, I experience a story, whether it's something I've loved for years, like Hunter x Hunter or Haikyuu, or if it's something new, like more recently Bleach or something like that, or Jujutsu Kaisen, or a video game like Red Dead Redemption. And I experience a story, I have a gut evocative reaction to it. I do emotions first, thoughts second. So something might make me cry, something might make me brain rot, lose sleep thinking about complexities. It might make me just gasp in awe. And then that's my emotional reaction. It means a lot to me. And then I go back, I take a step back and go, okay, why did I feel that way? And I kind of write out some notes and I put it together. What is so well done about the story that makes me feel that way? Sometimes I talk about it on stream and I parse it out on stream and I do some of the work there. Sometimes I do it on my own. But what's key to me is have a point. What about this is something that needs to be communicated? What is something I want to speak about to the world? And then build upon that in interesting ways. Make it emotionally evocative, use clips to, at times use clips to support the points, or use evidence or editing to support it, whatever. But I always try to have a point, or a few points at the very least, whereas before I just talked. Anyways, in terms of my style, that was a big thing. That shifted around a year into making videos or so. And then since then, I just kept doing my thing, trying to evolve in certain ways, in sometimes struggling with stress about it, struggling with the idea of people are going to dislike you on the internet for reasons that are unjustified. but you just gotta roll with the punches. I had made mistakes. I have in the past not referenced things properly and been called out for it justifiably, and I've had to learn from that. Nothing malicious or anything, but just through making mistakes. And those are all things I've learned from, and it ultimately became a career. But it got to a point where I was a voice on Twitter, and I was a disembodied voice in YouTube videos, but a very formal, sort of, in some ways, kind of stiff voice, analytical voice in YouTube videos. People didn't know what I looked like. People didn't know many of my interests, especially if they didn't follow me on Twitter. And those who do follow me on Twitter, when I would joke around or be more casual, they'd be like, wow, you have a personality. Which was funny to me, because it's like, yeah, I guess I make the video essays very seriously. But I thought to myself, like, one, nothing is ever a given, and I think to solely rely on ad revenue, which, for these videos, to get by with how volatile YouTube can be, the algorithm giveth and taketh away, you can be demonetized, it wasn't smart. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I started a Patreon a couple of years into that, but I didn't really know what to do with the incentives. It was there for people who wanted to support extra, but I started thinking to myself, I really want to try streaming. I want to give it a go. I was really shy about it, and I distinctly remember I was at a pool party with my friends one summer, and I was talking about, like, I want to start streaming, but I'm just kind of shy. I don't know. I don't really know what to do with it. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if people would be interested. And they said to me, at least a few people will be interested. You'll have like 20 people watching your stream at least. And like, what they said, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with streaming? And I said, my ideal thing is when Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, because Rebirth hadn't been announced by then, comes out, I want to stream my first experience with it, and I want like 10 people there to share it with me and talk about what's going on in the story and share emotions and share insight and thoughts. And they said, literally nothing is stopping that from happening. You just have to download some streaming software and you'll be able to do it. 10 people will be watching that. I said, okay, maybe you're right. And it's really funny because now Final Fantasy VII Re-Trilogy is a series that I do not want to stream. It's a game that I feel I can only fully appreciate when I'm unplugged. But I digress. Anyways, I started streaming. I distinctly remember it was 4 years ago, so 2022, on New Year's Day, I started streaming on YouTube. I just did a Skyrim stream. And people were talking, but before that I had also done some test streams across the years where I just did Q&As. They weren't very good, but hey. But I properly started with this Skyrim stream. I did a few streams on YouTube, then I moved over to Twitch. I got into the affiliate, the partner stuff on Twitch. I moved my audience. I was lucky in that I was able to move an existing audience from Twitter and YouTube onto Twitch, but it still built from there. And then I did Attack on Titan episode discussions, I did some One Piece reads, and I really started to love it. If you look at my earlier Twitch streams, I was very reserved. I was very formal. I would wake up early and kind of, do a bit of meditation and some notes for myself about, these are the points you have to make. You have to be very articulate. You have to express yourself well. I was very serious about it. I was very nervous about it. And when I'd finish the stream, there would be a huge exhale. I'm like, whew, you did it. But slowly it became something that was less of, let's try this out and let's do our best and be very formal about it, to something that I thoroughly enjoyed. I really started loosening up. I started showing my personality more. We came up with tons of other ideas. I made my community, my Discord server came together. I got more mods, many of whom are still with me to this day, who I appreciate so much. And streaming became not only a source of secondary income at a point in my life where the algorithm had actually started letting go of my videos to an extent. I was not making as much, and the things I sort of thought would happen had come to pass. My videos weren't getting as many views as they were before. Don't get me wrong, I'm still, to this day, honored that there would be thousands and thousands of people to watch what I put out. It's still great. But in terms of money, revenue, it wasn't enough on its own, nearly enough by the time I started getting into Twitch. As the algorithm and the YouTube landscape has expanded and things have changed, it's stopped pushing my videos as much as they used to, so it wasn't working as a primary job anymore. It wasn't making me enough money. So Twitch really helped with that. Patreon, where I put some of the VODs, really helped with that. And some of the incentives, it really was great for me professionally, and it actually allowed me to take up content creation full time, which I really appreciated. But more than that, I was at a point in my life where I didn't realize until I was a few months into streaming that I was burnt out of being that formal kind of not emotionless, not personalityless, but that voice on the internet that was only about 3% of AJ or Alexander. I was yearning to show who I truly was and my personality, and streams allowed me to do that. And I think they really, looking back, I think starting streaming really kind of saved me in terms of content creation. I think if I had kept all the periods of time in my life where I burnt out, I didn't realize I was burning. A lot of times, you have to look at the warning signs, and sometimes I've had to learn from experience, and I've only realized I was burning out after I had been burning out. By the time, if you are noticing changes or like exhaustion, in my experience, you've already missed the boat when it comes to burnout. You're already late. And so I've learned to recognize sort of signs and really take a step back and take it easy a bit on myself to avoid burnout when that happens. But what I realized was that I was burnt out in and around the time that I started streaming. I was sick of just being this voice on the internet that people look at as someone trying to be intellectual and analytical without a personality, without other interests of his own, despite what I posted on Twitter. Like, my main thing was the YouTube stuff. And I don't know that I would have been able to go on much longer. Like I said, I loved making the videos, but I really disliked the one-dimensionality of it. And I didn't realize that until I realized how much I enjoyed Twitch, streaming on Twitch, showing that side of myself. But likewise, doing that gave me a new lease on life for videos, and it made me feel like, wow, I'm being silly and I'm showing my personality here, and I'm trying to be analytical, but this makes the videos I make that are more polished kind of give the thoughts I have on stream a bit more oomph and impact when I'm able to put them together formally. And vice versa. I think they strengthen each other. And here I am. I would say I probably have a bit more, and this channel as well has been great for that too. I would say I probably, to a lot of people, these days, I'm a bit more of a streamer than a YouTuber, but I think I'm a healthy dose of both at this point, and I love doing both. I love pouring myself into both. But I think it's worth noting that the reason I started streaming and showing this other side of myself, that really did, I think, save me. I don't know that if I hadn't tried doing that, I would still be making videos. I might have stopped after a year or something after that point, for numerous reasons. So thank goodness I tried streaming out. Anyways, this is intended to be a shorter video than it was. It was just meant to be. But I hope you've enjoyed me sort of telling you my journey with YouTube, how I've explored those avenues, how I started, some turning points, how I changed certain things, how I've dealt with certain things, and ultimately why streaming has been essential to that. It's been a journey, man. It's been a journey, and I feel blessed to be able to do this, and I hope to be able to continue to do it. It's things are looking very healthy for that, thanks to a lot of your guys' support. So I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for you guys checking out these second channels, because when you're a content creator, you can't just have one thing. Yeah, I can't just have my Alexander channel, boom, ad revenue from that, that's all I need. That's not true. This secondary channel is good for some extra pocket money. It's good for being a different outlet. The VOD channel is great for getting some of the Twitch VODs to stay on YouTube forever. The Twitch has been great for that. The Patreon's been essential, and just all these different avenues. Putting all that together, it's an interesting profession. It's very interesting, and there's lots of challenges with it monetarily and financially, but also emotionally and spiritually, and in terms of life balance and burnout and all of that. And struggling, at this point, I'm a veteran when it comes to dealing with people online. So when there's an idiot who calls me an idiot for thinking that Bleach is better than X series, or Hunter x Hunter isn't, or Hunter x Hunter is better than X series, or for loving Naruto, it's easy to shut that out. But every once in a while, you have a bad day. Everyone has those days where it just bothers you. So it's never perfect. But at the same time, I know I'm very blessed. I've worked other jobs. I love this one. I hope to be able to continue doing it. And I really appreciate all the support, all the tiered subs in Twitch that are one of the best ways of supporting me. The support on Patreon, the likes and comments and views on the YouTube stuff across all the channels, just being there in the streams, just being there in the Discord. Thank you so much. So I guess this is kind of a summary of my content creation journey. And I hope it was insightful. Maybe it's useful to you in some way. Maybe it's... and I've just scratched the surface. There are so many other things I could talk about with regards to struggles with elements of YouTube, struggles with elements of feedback, being my own worst critic, that burnout, which I only scratched the surface of. There's lots to talk about. Feel free to ask me about it in a stream or something. But I think I'll leave it here. Just kind of wanted to talk about how I started, how it progressed, and why streaming has been so essential. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.